Yes, welcome to Good from Block 5 with me, your host SJ. As always, I hope this stream, anything we do, hope find you all very well. Today we've got a very special guest, we've got Nev, the Unbiased Gunner. How you doing, Nev?
Yeah, all good, man. Appreciate the invite. Glad,
Um,
glad this summer break is finally over. Almost back in Premier League action.
I appreciate you coming on, man. Appreciate it very much coming on. In description, there's Nev's TikTok, Nev's Instagram. Trusting my boy's active, so give him a follow on both platforms. Have you got a YouTube
Trying.
channel? Have you got a YouTube channel?
Do you know what? I have a YouTube. I don't post on there. But that's something I need to start actually doing.
Surely it's like it should be a copy and paste now. Like when
Yeah,
you
and
post it one, it's
it is the same thing. It's on.
yeah.
It's the same.
I think you do well on YouTube. I think you should get it going. I think you do well on YouTube. If you start posting, give you a level of activity, I think you do well.
Yeah, to be honest, I think I jumped on the same podcast we've done together before, and one of the guys there was saying we should do that. I should do that as well. So
Yeah, you
it's
should,
on my
man.
to-do list, and maybe the start of the season will kick me into gear.
Nah, yeah, you should. 100%. I agree. You should definitely do it. Well, where we starting? Look, obviously during the summer we had the World Cup. It helped us, bridge the gap between the end of last season and this season. I mean, going back to last season, we ended the league as champions. So, it was a bit of a different summer for us. We, as fans, we had a head held high. No one could banter us. And I'll be real, I've been unbearable all summer. I've been posting every Monday and every Saturday. Religiously, I've been posting Arsenal content to remind everyone that we are the champions. How have you found it?
Do you know, it's a shame the World Cup was this summer, right? Because it almost took a little bit away, the distraction away. But
Yeah,
every England, I went to watch lots of games, but
yeah,
all the England games I went to, I wore an Arsenal shirt, and I was basically like, I'm supporting Arsenal, right? We had 4 players in the England team, and I'm the same though. As soon as the World Cup finished, I was like, the embargo is finished. It's time to get back, like you said, to remind everybody that we're champions, and what a way to cap it off. I went up to Cardiff last Sunday with the Community Shield, and I can't remember a time when before the ball's even kicked, Arsenal are such heavy favourites for the Premier League. It's what a time to be an Arsenal fan right now, like you said.
Listen, the current generation, they're thinking this is the norm. This is not the norm.
It's
Dark
definitely not.
days. There's been just considering take up another sport. You know what? It's not for me. I might take up basketball. Just drop this stuff. It's not for me. But I hear what you're saying about the Arsenal shirts. Ever since we won the league, you turn every street. There's someone there wearing it proud. And you just get acknowledgement. You both wearing a shirt like
Everybody, even when I'm in the gym, especially that happens all the time. People I never seen
everyone's
before.
your friend. Every Arsenal, you're like, yeah, you got that. Yeah.
It's a community, That I
Yeah,
think that's what it is all about.
That's what it is, man. It's nice, man. It's good to see that everyone, is bonding in harmony for such a positive, a positive manner, us winning the league.
100%. Where did you like, the night we won the league, where were you? Did you go down to the Emirates?
You know what? I was looking after little ones, to be honest.
I
was told that the missus said you can go, but I said, you know what? I didn't know it would be what it was.
Yeah.
But I don't really suffer from FOMO, so I don't mind. If I wasn't there, I wasn't there. So well, it looked good though. It looked good. It looked like, and everyone keeps referencing it. Was it May 19th?
May 19th.
Everyone references it now. Everyone, best night of my life. So
I don't know best out of my life, but I think I went to all 3. So I went to that day. I went to after the Crystal Palace game. I watched it nearby, and I went to the stadium after, and I went to the parade. Obviously, I definitely think that Tuesday. For me, that was the best celebration because it was so organic. It was such it was like such an outcry of like emotion and celebration, and literally everybody just flocked to the stadium. Whether I think I went to the Burnley game the Monday before, and I think after that game where we won, a few people after the game I was talking to them were like, trying to make plans. They were like, where are you going to watch the game? You're going to come down to I ended up watching it at the stadium, so it wasn't too far away. And then within like 10 minutes, there was thousands of people already at the Emirates. It's such a crazy night.
That's what it was. Everyone just went. It wasn't even organized. It was just a joyous congregation of people.
Exactly. So, nobody wanted to go home. I think 2-3 o'clock in the morning, everybody was still outside.
Actually, I don't suffer from FOMO, but it would have been nice to have been there looking back at the celebrations and how it went down, to be honest. But like I said, we had the World Cup during the summer, so that kind of sometimes interrupts with the transfer window because players are aware you can't really negotiate.
Yeah.
But this is our outs and ins so far. We've got Bruno, Pierre Hincapié, he was a loan and sign from last season.
Yep.
Melier from what used to be Leeds, number 1 keeper. Christos Solis, Ezri Konsa put on there because he's almost
Pretty
done.
much done.
And out the club, I mean, disappointingly out the club, we've got Carl Hind, Gakpo Kiwior, Christian Norgard, and Leandro Trossard. So, how have you found our transfer dealing with someone? Are you expecting more players to come in? Do you think we need more players to come in?
So I mean, maybe there's another column there where it's like the players we've been linked with, right? All the names that we
There's
were
no
linked with
space.
this
There's not enough
window.
space on the page.
Yeah, no, exactly. The window, to be fair, I think I was the only one that surprised me from the list is Trossard. I think I've been talking a lot about kind of obviously I think the left hand side of midfield or the attacking left hand side is somewhere we can improve on. And of the two, I think it's probably maybe age, right? Of the two, Trossard and Martinelli, I think Trossard did a bit more for me than Martinelli last season. And I'm surprised that they let Trossard go so early in the window.
Yeah.
But having said that, I think Christian Zolis coming in at £40 million looks like an absolute steal. When you look at the kind of the transfer fees for some of the players, 100 and whatever million for Rodgers and Anderson, that £40 million, and it's not like he didn't have good numbers in the Belgian league.
Exactly.
And seeing him, I went to one of the Dortmund game and seeing him on Sunday against Man City. I think he could do, it's the early days, right? But I think he looks like a real player. It's a shame Christian Norgard, that was always a bit of a weird signing. He's Brentford captain. We brought him in. Arteta clearly didn't trust him. You kind of knew his time was up. For him, it's good, right? He's come to us. He's contributed. He didn't play as many games as he wanted. I don't remember him having a bad game. He's got a Premier League medal, and now, he's obviously left the club. But in terms of what we need, look, I'm a big Victor Gyökeres fan. I know we've been linked with lots of strikers, Julian Alvarez, Victor Osimhen in recent days. I think he needs a bit more time. I think we need to give him another season. If he goes, he goes. And I think that's one thing for me. I've said, we can't as a club allow ourselves to be sentimental. If there's a real opportunity to go and get a better striker than maybe Gyökeres, as much as maybe me personally, I like him, let's go do it. Let's go do the deal. We're champions. We're champions for a reason. And we, as in me, I want us to stay champions, right? And if that means we have to be ruthless, we have to be cutthroat, let's go and do it. But when you look at the names out there, the players we're being linked with, like there was talks about Morgan Rodgers on the left-hand side before, Vinicius Jr., Barcola, maybe. He looks like he's on his way to Liverpool. I don't want us to go and spend £150 million on Bradley Barcola. Is he better than Martinelli? I personally don't think so. I think there's not many players, Yildiz who've been linked with. Is he someone I was looking at before? The links, probably not. I know the Italian league, the pace, and it's a little bit more tactical over there. It's not really as intense as you get in the Premier League. So I'm looking at who's going to make us better. And if we stick with the players we have now, so we don't get anybody else in, other than maybe Konza in the next couple of days, I don't really see that being too much of a problem for this season. I think this season, a lot of the other clubs are in a bit of a transition. A few dark horses, they're like Man United, Tottenham, Chelsea with no European football. But I think we have enough with the squad we have, who just won the league 3 or 4 months ago. Plus, we've added a couple of players in there. Gimaresh, top signing, another captain we've stolen from another club. Add that, I think our midfield depth is crazy.
Yeah,
and we have enough, I feel, to go on and go back to back, which is something we've never done before. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the season kicking off tomorrow.
No, I agree. I mean, I don't think we need to waste money. Like you said, just buying any old player to the team. We are defending champions. I think we made some clever signings in terms of Bruno. I think the Konza is a clever sign as well. He can play both positions. He's experienced in the Prem. And Solis, he's surprised me, to be honest. Like you said, he had numbers in Belgium, but sometimes,
it doesn't always translate.
Yeah, exactly. And these Dutch leagues, the Belgian leagues, doesn't really translate. You know what I mean? Like Anthony, coming 100 million, and where's he now? Betis. You know what I mean? So it doesn't often translate. But I think just on pre-season alone, Solis looks like he could be a decent player for us, and he could possibly hold that left-hand side down. Even if it's up until January, and we can reassess. Reassess our options, keep our powder dry. Someone might re-emerge with a fantastic first 5-6 months of the season. We think, okay, yeah, we were looking at you before. I know you started the season well. We want to get you in. I was hoping we get a Krupi, but obviously he got injured before.
Yeah.
A few months. Could he come back in November, hit the ground running, and we get him in January for cheap on a decent deal?
Yeah, I don't know how long he's got left in his contract, but I did see some reports this week to say that he was a player we were planning to move for late in the window, but obviously he's got injured now. So, and he fits the profile, right? Kind of,
good age, left-hand side. Yeah. I think he fits his age profile. He doesn't play every week. We've got Solis, so he can rotate. I'll keep our power drive for him. Martinelli, I think the way he's been treated is a bit harsh. I don't know who's done it at the club, but we haven't got a replacement in just yet. So if he stays, he could be a disgruntled apple. He could just be not a bad apple, but you're not going to be happy if your employer is trying to get you out.
Yeah.
What was it, a couple of weeks back? Navas just blankly said, "My name is for sale" on his post weeks back. So Navas was pretty much.
It looks like we've been shopping around trying to get rid of him. Right? So I don't know if you saw the images after Community Shield on Sunday where him and Nwaneri, they didn't participate in any of the. So to what you're saying about kind of bad eggs, right? So I think he's obviously someone who's always spoken well about Arsenal. We obviously brought him in as a young kid, he's made his career. But that sort of stuff, like I said, if we are trying to get rid of him, and it got to the point where him and Nwaneri didn't feel comfortable joining in with all the backroom staff, like the coaches, all that sort of stuff. It's more, if we end up keeping him, how do we reintegrate him back into the squad so that he's going to be performing and happy? Because surely he's going to be thinking, my time's,
my day's numbered.
It could go both ways, right? It could be that he might be thinking, actually, this is the kick he needed, and that could force him to kick on and show the type of form on a consistent basis that we've all hoped for. But it's a different. I say right. So I think we can obviously all the potential in the squad to go back to back. A lot of focus now. Square on the shoulders of Mikel Arteta. I think he's going to come across new challenges as a manager. He's still quite early in his managerial career that he's not faced before. He's got this challenge now of how does he rotate this? He's always talking about the squad size and the squad numbers. How does he keep all these players engaged to the point where they're happy to sit on the sidelines and wait for their chance? We've seen it with Skelly where, if he didn't get those 5 games at the back end of last season, or he hasn't been involved in pre-season, he probably would have been good. He would be thinking, where do I go, right? So it will be interesting to see how Arteta as a manager deals with that challenge, right? Because like I said, it's always been, we've been chasing. Now we're being chased. Everybody's going to come after us. And it'll be, like I said, it'll be interesting to see what this season looks like from a managerial perspective.
Do you think Arteta is capable of using the squad as a whole and rotating? Because obviously last year, I think fatigue was a main factor, a very telling factor in our fall at last hurdle in the Champions League final.
That whole April was because of no rotation, right? We had a bad April because
the minutes Declan Rice played, the minutes Zubimendi played. Like you said, we've got the squad depth now, so you could probably see the likes of Bruno playing with Zubi. You could play with Rice, and just what I mean. Do you think Arteta has the capability to do it, or do you think when times go wrong, say we lose a game say we lose our second game against Aston Villa? He might revert to type and batten down the hatch and play his first 11.
I think if you jump back 12 months from now, everybody was talking about Arsenal's squad depth, right? And everybody was saying how good the squad is and all that sort of stuff. And I think we saw rotation, especially in the defense, but it's more forced on us by injury. Gabriel was in and out of the squad. Lowy had issues at left back. I think in midfield, like you said, right, we had players we could have played, and it was something he either wasn't seeing or it was more him being stubborn, where he didn't want to give Zubimendi a rest. He didn't want to really give Declan Rice a rest. And like I said, ran them into the ground, right? We had Norgard there. Norgard could have played. Didn't really get a kick. Skelly could have played. It was only when his hand was forced he played Skelly. But this is what I'm talking about, yeah? So it'll be interesting to see now if Nwaneri stays, if Martinelli stays, Skelly if we have 27, the likes of Jesus, who we've not spoken about, who we're trying to move on as well, if they end up staying, how does it keep all those players happy? Because you don't want, I don't want to be like other clubs where I've seen like today, other clubs, like Chelsea, for example, they got Nicholas Jackson back from loan, training with the academy. I don't want to be one of those clubs where we kind of ostracize players. It's like, if you're part of the group, you're part of the group, but how do we keep them engaged? But I think he could have done a bit more with rotation. I think at times he probably didn't give enough consistency to some players. I thought Trossard had really a good spell in the team last year. At times he was rotating him and Martinelli without real reason. And then, Martinelli's more, I see him more of as an impact player. He's a quick player off the bench. When he starts, he doesn't always produce. Give him 30 minutes later in games when players get tired. And for some reason, he was just rotating those two on the left-hand side. And, we were struggling to break teams down, right? So for me, I probably said his rotation wasn't as good as it could have been. He didn't utilize the entire squad. It was more driven by injuries. And he's added to that now, right? Our midfield is even more stacked.
Do you think it might have been nerves? Do you think it was nerves? Because we've been trying to get over that hurdle second. And when you've got the squad and you're just there, you can't rotate. You think, okay, to keep showing at the same 11. I can't afford to make a mistake, because if I come second again, I might lose my job in the summer.
I hear it. I'm sure the Croquis or whoever it is above them would have been kind of whispering in his ear to set. Look, I think we saw I mean, you go to the games as well, right? Nobody
Yeah,
probably enjoyed watching Arsenal last
nah,
season. It was a
nah.
very difficult watch at many home, especially home games, which is unusual. We usually kind of have a bit more of an offensive flair at home, but the defense basically won us and David Raya won us the Premier League last year, right? We had lots of
Let
1
me, let
0
me jump
2-1
in.
wins.
In a word, would you take that again this season?
100%.
Okay.
I was gonna say at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's like we won it at the end of the day, and
Yeah,
people are
yeah,
gonna have their opinions over it. And
yeah,
uh, but I was gonna say, look, Saliba's out now, right? So we're probably not gonna be able to rely on that solid base. David Raya is gonna be there; he's gonna make saves, but there's gonna be some rotation. Konza, if he comes in, take some time to adapt. Mosquera is not Saliba. Um, Ben White, will he stay if fit or not? I think it is more around we need to kind of manage the squad better, and especially to create those attacking opportunities to
mm,
go and kill games off. Because whilst yes, there was a level of pragmatism last year that I think we needed to get across the line, and that was driven by a lot of pressure to get across the line. We've done it now,
yeah,
so everybody spoke about taking the handbrake off last season. I've seen some comments about him saying we're not going to be the defending Premier League champions, we're going to be the attacking Premier League champions. I hope that is the case, right? Odegaard, I think a lot of I don't know what it was, but he looked very inconsistent throughout the last maybe 2 seasons. We know Saka's got injury problems, but I think a lot of it is driven through Odegaard, right? If he can rediscover the form or somewhat of the form maybe that he showed on Sunday or at the
yeah,
World Cup for Norway, I think we're not going to be far off. We're going to be, quite an attacking team going forward. And I think even Guimaraes, I think there's a reason we went and got him. We don't really need another, midfield player. But I
yeah,
think how, one of the things I like about him, where I've been kind of looking more at his game, is when he picks the ball up or recovers in midfield. First off, he's always got his head up looking forward,
yeah.
and
Forward,
if he
yeah,
can fire those balls into, Gyökeres or over the top and break the lines through the midfield, it just unlocks those players and gives them the opportunities to go and
yeah.
create opportunities for us to score in the final third, which we didn't do well enough last year. It was very slow. It was kind of monotonous, and hopefully there's a different element to our game this year.
Yeah, I mean, I echo that. I said on another show the other day, just being at the Community Shield from I was sitting upper tier, you could see Bruno's intent when he got the ball. It was forward, forward, forward. And
Yeah, always.
I think it knocks on to players like Odegaard because he's ready. He's there because they're working very in tangent on that right hand side,
Yeah,
working together. And Odegaard was making more forward runs, making more runs to the box, breaking to the box. So I think Bruno could probably, really push on our midfield this season. So obviously he got injured. Is he injured? I think he had a knock.
yeah. I mean, I think he only played 45, right? So I think he
Yeah,
should be fine, I guess.
yeah.
What do you think is our best midfield three now? So obviously Declan probably won't start on tomorrow because they said they're going to give him a bit of a rest after the World Cup. But when everybody's fit,
Oh,
who, who
when everybody's fit, it's Bruno, Rice, and Odegaard for me.
you think
But
Odegaard? Yeah,
yeah, just the way Odegaard started this pre-season, and this I think on Sunday was immense. If he can keep it up, recreate it, and keep it going on, I think that would be
yeah.
my midfield three.
I think I'll probably say this. It'll be very interesting to see how because that's quite an attacking, offensive kind of midfield three, right? It'll be interesting to see how they manage the double pivot with him and Bruno Guimaraes and Rice, right? Because they both naturally like to go forwards,
Yeah,
and obviously leaves us a little bit open at the back, and maybe against some of the bigger teams might be able to get caught in a counter attack, but I'm sure they'll manage that out of them, and they'll be on the tactic board and
yeah,
drawing up the game plan against every game. But at least that's kind of what we want to see. That's what fans have wanted, right? They want that a bit more of attacking intent from the team to go and kill games off,
mm.
not just kind of try and defend the lead. We want to see that progression up the pitch as well.
Yeah. I mean, before I just go into the predictions, what was your take on the Sunday? Because you have to admit our pre-season hasn't been great. The results haven't been. The performances and results has been poor, and then out of the blue,
Yeah,
that performance
turn up
Sunday
with
was ridiculous. 26 seconds, 1-0 up, and the
I
rest
know,
is
I
ridiculous.
know.
What was your thoughts?
Yeah, is it a preseason friendly or is it a trophy for you?
Well, it depends. If we lost, it was a trophy. If we won, if Arsenal win, it's nothing. You know what I mean? So
I know there was this debate before. And to be fair, I said it was a trophy regardless. Before the game, I said regardless of the result, it is a trophy from my
yeah,
perspective. And when you got Guardiola and these guys counting it as their
100%,
in their kind of stats and what they won, yeah, everybody should be on the same page. But I was late to the game. I drove down. I was debating how I was going to get down there. I drove down. There was loads of traffic on the motorway. It was probably I got there maybe an hour later than I wanted to. Missed the first goal. Obviously, seen the highlights now, but I didn't expect us to roll City over like the way we did.
yeah.
Um, it's funny actually. I watched the Jose Mourinho documentary last week, all right, and I think I was saying to when I'm on the way down, I was saying I think watching that, it just shows how much the manager can impact a team, right? I think the segment in that documentary where he was at Inter Milan, where he took an aging Inter Milan squad to become champions of Italy and then go on to win the Champions League, purely because he instilled belief in that squad and made the players be better than they were. I think that's what Pep Guardiola does, right? That's what those elite managers do. So City, whilst I did expect there to be a bit of a drop off, I didn't expect as much of a drop off from what we saw. Obviously, no, some kind of change in personnel for them. The Rodri's, I think, is going to have a huge difference for them. We've already seen when he hasn't played, they've struggled to compete in the league anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be competitive. They'll be competitive. They won't be challenging for the title this year. I think, the years of us in City battling out probably have come and gone, and it would take them a bit of a while to kind of come again. Which is a good thing for us, right? We've built this base, we built this foundation over 5-6 years with Arteta. There's no Klopp now, there's no Guardiola. Where will that next challenge come from? For me, I think Xavi Alonso is probably a bit of a dark horse. We've seen what he could do at Bayern Leverkusen over in Germany. Obviously, he probably would have maybe liked to have the Liverpool job if he knew that was going to come up. But he's at Chelsea now, and they've got no European football. They can just focus on domestic football, and they could be a dark horse and push us, maybe not all the way, but give us a good run for our money in the league next season.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams are in transition. But yeah, I didn't expect Man City to really get run over like they did on Sunday. People saying they were poor, but they had chances. We made some very good blocks. Ben White, good block. Gabriel, last minute block. Skelly, he made a great block from a rebound from Raya. Raya's made 4 or 5 fantastic.
He made a couple of saves. Yeah.
If they go in, it's a different game, and then all of a sudden City are showing up. But I think we took our chances and we defended well as a team. I think as a unit, we played very well the way we defended, especially off the ball in a 4-4-2. I think we intentionally showed City down the sides and create traps. And Bruno was able to nick the ball, or Rice or Skelly, and it was working effectively over and over again. And City had no answer for it.
I think one thing that stood out for me, obviously, I know it's only whatever we call it, the first proper game of the season, early in the season, and it's how we managed Haaland, right? Haaland thorn in our side. He's like one of those players.
7 touches. Surely 4 of them were from kickoff. 3 from the goals.
Yeah, he's like a Drogba of the old days, right? We always expected to pop up with a goal against us, even when it was 5-5. When we beat them at home a couple of years ago, you'd always pop up with a goal, and you didn't get a kick. Yeah. And I think from a defensive point of view, where that's probably an area that people will be looking at as thinking, we may be a little bit weaker with no Saliba. We stood up to the test, probably one of the biggest tests you're going to come up against in Haaland. Give him a sniff and he's going to score, and we were able to kind of deal with that. Whilst you said, right, they created a couple of opportunities, but it was the midfield more so than Haaland, which puts us in good stead, right? It means they were creating shots from kind of wide positions or from outside the box, and we were able to kind of manage that well. And like I said, I'm never been so confident going into a season. I hope hopefully that.
There's more pressure. We have pressure.
I'm gonna say hopefully that expectation doesn't weigh heavily.
Last year, but there should be more pressure again this year because there's now more expectation. You just said I expect us to win. So if we're not within touching distance or at least leading by Christmas, is there going to be more pressure on the players? Is there going to be unrest in the fan base?
The fan base. The fan base. Listen, if after every game, I think after the Liverpool game last season, I was saying when I was talking to the AFTV guys, I was saying if social media was around in the Invincible season, could you imagine how we had 12 draws that season, right? That's 12 games, which is like 30% of the whole quarter of the season, where the fan base would have been like losing their mind, and we went on to win in the way that we won, right, unbeaten and all that. And it's now when you look back on it, we realize what an achievement that was. But I think that this football at the end of the day, we're not going to win 38 games. It's never going to happen. We're probably going to lose a couple of games. We're going to draw a couple of games. I don't think we should, we'll see how the other teams kind of perform throughout the year. I don't think we're going to should worry too much. I think there's a bit of a prioritization. And you talked about squad depth and rotation. I think we got to go in the Champions League this year, right? So I think, we've won the league. I think we're not going to walk the league. I don't think it's the Premier League at the end of the day, right? Other teams are going to be competitive. It's going to be tough for us to defend the Premiership. Like I said, we've never done that before. I think we have enough in us to go and do that. It's more, how do we kind of manage, like I said, all those
Before you
expectations?
go on, let's get into it. Let's get into your predictions. Like this is our last 5 seasons. Obviously, we came 5th.
Yeah.
Second 84, second 89, second a bit of a drop off 74, and last year we came first with 85 points. So where do you think we're coming this season? Well, I know where you stand, but let me hear it again.
Yeah, I can't see us not finishing first this season.
Yeah.
And if you look at the league this year, I expect us to have more points than we did finish on last season. And if you think of the Premier League as a whole, we've got 8 or 9 teams. I think it's 8 teams that are in Europe this season. So
Yeah, 9.
Is it 9? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there's some qualifications still going on at the moment, right?
Yeah.
But if all those teams qualify for their respective competitions, obviously 5 in the champs and then the lower competitions, those teams are going to be playing Thursday, Sunday. We know how difficult that is. Historically, every team that's kind of done that has usually kind of struggled in the league that year. But then also, like where last season the likes of Sunderland were really outperforming and causing a lot of teams trouble, their eye now is going to be in Europe, and they're probably not going to be as competitive in the league as they were in the league last year. So I think there's an opportunity. We're probably going to see the teams that are really challenging for the league beating a lot of those kind of middle, second section in the league teams, and we could have a much higher points tally. So I think 89 is what we did a couple of years ago. Could we get to 89? Could we break 90? So I probably expect us to be somewhere around there.
Do you think we're able to do that and still challenge on other fronts, or do you think we might have to sacrifice? If hopefully we're ahead at say March, April, maybe sacrifice, we might have to draw away at Bournemouth.
It's football's all about momentum, right? So I think if we get to that position, we're out in front. You don't want to be losing on a Saturday and then having to turn up on a Tuesday against a Real Madrid or Barcelona, right? You want to kind of keep that momentum going and going with your heads held high, knowing that you're champions, knowing that you're out in front, that you can kind of go and show what we can do. So I do think we can have the definitely possible for us to kind of get a higher points tally than we did last season. I can't see us finishing anywhere other than first, considering the level of consistency we've had over the last couple of years. And we've seen this story before, right? Where influential managers have left the club, new managers come in. You take Slot out where he had basically Klopp's team previously, and maybe they're like a Conte in his first season at Chelsea. Managers don't usually walk into a club and go on and win the Premier League. So I can't see that happening again this season, where there's so many, there's 9 new managers in the league. So all the top teams, except for Carrick, even though he's still new, have new managers. So that foundation we built with Arteta over the last 5 years, hopefully we're now going to see the rewards from kind of trust in the process, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with you as well. I think we're going to win the league. I agree with what you said before as well. I don't care if we do it in the same manner as last year.
Look, it would be nice if we didn't. Sorry, it would be nice if we didn't do it that way. But
it's true. It's true. But that's down to the manager. That's down to the manager to try and get us playing a whole different way. We've got different players like Bruno. Like you said, Bruno can probably, help us play a different way. But if we have to revert back to type, I'm happy. I don't mind. I do think 85 points is enough to win the league, and I think that's probably where we'll go there. Maybe 2 points either side. I don't think the other teams are strong enough. I think they're all in transition, new managers. I think a couple of teams players are short in defence. I don't think Man City are strong defensively. Liverpool definitely not defensively. Chelsea, they seem a bit thrown together at the moment.
They bought loads of players, but then
I think it'll take a bit of time to gel. And I don't think they have the games for it because they're out of Europe, so they have to rely on the
domestic,
domestics to get it done. But I do think we'll win the league, 85 points, and it's back to back. We've never done it before. Only a few teams in Premier League history have done it. I think Chelsea, Man City, and Man United. So it'd be nice to join that club.
Yeah. So if we don't win it, where would you be at the end of the season? So we don't win the league. Maybe we win a domestic cup, maybe like the EFL or the FA Cup.
If we don't win it, it depends. It's all about how we don't win it. I mean, if we just at a whimper finish behind, if we finish behind any of the teams, it's very disappointing. If we finish behind the City team, we can't finish behind the City team. We can't finish behind the Liverpool team, and there's no team in the league that's better than us right now. You know,
I don't think
so
so.
I don't know. I just think we should win the league, and that's the pressure. I think it's more pressure for me this season than last season because
I think so. Yeah, it's like I said, it's a different pressure, right? So obviously the pressure built over us for the last 3 or 4 seasons because we've come so close, and the fan base, the club, the manager, loads of things being spoken about. But now we won it. That gold patch that carries a lot of weight. That could weigh heavy on the players' shoulders. And like I said, there's a lot of young players in the squad. They've not been in this position before. They've not previously won a championship, and that expectation. I'm hoping, like you said, the fan base, if we have a couple of bad results, don't turn and make it a negative environment. But we're the Arsenal, man. I don't think that's the way it's going to go. I think we're going to, do what we need to do and get it across the line again.
we've got Charles in the chat. How you doing, Charles? You're right. Let me give this one to you, Nev. Do you think the player churn, the drama going on in this window down at the City, is some dirty deals going on with FA? It's been touted. People are saying it I've seen it on social media. Are they getting rid of their players because it's to do with the 150 charges? Do you think it's linked, or it's just they're just clearing shop?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I can't remember who it was. I know they've got a couple of players that they are selling. I think it's one of the City players. Basically, they said he joined like last year for like 60 million, hasn't done anything, and we're selling him to like a Saudi club.
Reinders, Gianni Reinders.
Reinders, yeah, there you go,
Yeah.
He hasn't really done anything, and then it's gone after. So look, is it to do with the 115? Definitely thought Pep Guardiola leaving had maybe something to do with that, where
I thought that too,
there was a lot of conversation about the Premier League not wanting it to drag in to last season. Right, they wanted it concluded before the end of the season, and we're about to start this new season, and we're still not that. So the indications from inside the club probably is leading towards there being some kind of sanction or fine or penalty or deduction. All those things have been touted, and if you look at the likes of Everton, who I don't even know what they did, but they were penalized, right, and had points deducted from them. I don't see why, given the scale of what City have done, that they will get away with it scot-free. And from Guardiola's perspective, he's probably thinking, do I want my legacy, the titles we won associated with anything when that happens? Probably not. And he's decided to leave, even though he's not won the league in the last 2 years. The players as well, might be thinking the same, right? Do I want to be around the club? How would that impact me from a fringe player getting maybe a transfer away? And also there might be the whole collusion with the their pals right over in Saudi or in wherever it is to maybe just do them a solid and kind of take these players so they can recoup some money from PSR and go and buy some other players. Because I don't know, and they spent quite a bit of money, right? Anderson, even though they're not maybe improved in all areas, probably going to go and get some more players in the next couple of weeks before the window closes. But I always wonder how they manage this, right? They seem to sign their own sponsorship deals with the airline and selling players, similar to what Chelsea do, where they recycle it across other clubs. And it's interesting because we don't really always talk about that aspect of football. It's usually who we sign.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say, you'd think Elliot Anderson come in there, you think he'd ask a question. I'm sure the club are legally bound to disclose something. Yeah, you don't want to come disclose. You're going to end up in League Two next season. You're not going to do it. Do you know what I mean? Because in the EFL, there's different kind of financial restrictions, so you're not going to get your 400 grand a week. So I think it might look it's like it's linked, but I don't think it is linked. It's just an online rumor that's caught a bit of wind, a bit of fire. So
I mean, one thing I would say is if I'm joining City now, if I'm Elliot Anderson, I'm having a relegation, whatever it is, clause in my contract. If anything did go left, at least I'm not going to be left.
I think you'd think probably most players do. They join and say, if something does happen with these charges, then I have the right to rip up my contract and leave on a free transfer. As such, I mean. So if we win the league, who do you think your top 5 for the league is?
Top 5 in any particular order?
Yeah, well, first to 5.
In the right order.
Yeah, right order. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, maybe I've not wavered, but I've thought maybe Liverpool will be our closest challengers, so I can see them coming second. Yeah, I mean, this kind of I've gone back and forth with it. I think obviously they're in a bit of a rebuild, but that's what I've kind of said so far. Liverpool, I think Chelsea could be a bit of a dark horse. Maybe they'll be third. No European football, so just focusing on the domestics, and then Man United, Man City. So I think City probably still enough to get top 5, but 5th. Aston Villa probably dropping out of the top 5 for next season.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think Arsenal, I think City, and then United, Chelsea, then Liverpool
You think City still come second?
Yeah, I think they they still got quality players in there. The defense, they still have a quality level. Like, they play well on Sunday. They don't play well, but if they could on another day, they could have scored a couple. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, for
The
sure.
game could be tight.
I think, like I said, I think with City, where like I said, Guardiola, you can't take, but they've also lost Rodri, Bernardo Silva. Like that midfield is going to be different, right? And I think it would take them a bit of time to play the Maresca way. And then, to be me personally, I wasn't too impressed with what he did at Chelsea. I know he got them was it Conference League or whatever it was, and the Club World Cup, which nobody cares about. But fundamentally, he just about scraped top four with them. And I know he's from the Pep Guardiola School of Management, but look, obviously went left for him, and you don't know what goes on behind the scenes of football. But he ended up walking away from the job for different reasons, and seemed like he lost the dressing room. There's a lot more high-profile players at City, and I know there's already bets going on about who's going to be the first manager to kind of lose their job. Areola and Maresca are high on that list, given the jobs that they have at Liverpool and Man City.
Yeah, I mean. I think Maresca could be all right. I think he'll be all right. I think he'll be probably one of the promoted teams will probably lose their manager first. The whole manager, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. Just going to the next one. We're going to win the league, Champions League. So obviously we were out the Champions League for a number of years. I mean, under Wenger, Champions League was a given, for like 20 years straight, and then we've.
Is it given around the 16 and then come February time?
I think it was given at Bayern Munich or Barcelona.
I know, we do.
And give us licks. Yeah. So,
where do we finish this year?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the progression. We've got quarterfinals, lost to Bayern Munich, 3-2 aggregate. Next year, PSG semi-finals, 3-1 aggregate. Last year, final 1-1, 4-3 in pens. I mean, is this the year?
I mean, if you look at the progression we've had in the Premier League over the last couple of seasons, you probably would have to say it is going to be the year. But I thought last year was the year we probably should have won it. We didn't do enough against PSG, and if we beat PSG, I think we had enough to go on and beat Inter Milan. But can't go back in time. Do I think we win the Champions League this year? Hand on, I don't think we do win the Champions League this year. I think. I don't know, purely because from an attacking point of view, I think a lot of it will rely on how Victor Gyökeres responds this year. But I just can't see us winning the Champions League. If I'm perfectly honest, as much as I would love that to happen, I think last season, or like I said, the previous season was the one 24-25 when we didn't do what we needed to against PSG. If we had the right momentum going into the game against PSG last year, we just won the league. The game was a week later. I don't think we're going to get to that sort of level again in terms of from a fan base perspective, from a momentum point of view. Yeah. The only way I really see us winning the Champions League next year is if we falter domestically and we're out of the title race quite early on, out of the cups, relatively early on, and that's all we're going to go for. And then we go 100%. And I don't think that's the way the season's going to go. I think we're going to do really well in the league, maybe domestically in the cups as well. And I think that might take its toll on us as we get to the latter stages in the Champions League next year.
Yeah, we did that kind draw last year. You know what I mean, didn't we?
We definitely did.
We had a very, if we're honest as a fan base, we had a very kind draw. We were dodging boys left, right. Even in the semi-finals, I thought we were getting Barcelona. I was booking my flight to Madrid.
Atletico knocked them out.
I literally booked flights to Barca, and I just had to book flights to Madrid as well after. I was like, what? We were kind with draw. We got Bodo Glimt, Sporting.
Yeah.
And Athletic Madrid in the semi, so I can't see it happening again this summer. This season. Hopefully it does. But yeah,
the season before we didn't have a kind draw. Real Madrid, nobody thought we beat them. We boxed them up. Like I said, the PSG game. I think the home leg. We made some kind of rookie errors, and maybe that was pressure where we haven't been in that late in the competition in quite a while. But it's got us to the point where we are now. But
yeah, I agree with Charles here. Like, we need a game breaker and attack minimum, and this is why I thought it was important that we get someone on the left hand side. Mm-hmm. We know Saka's his history of injuries is not reliable as such in the last 18 months, and if we have that I mean, obviously, Vinny seems like it was a myth. I mean, I don't want to talk about the whole Vinny thing. I'm done with it. I don't talk about it. But if we got someone of that caliber, a quality player down the left hand side, I'm not saying Solis isn't good, but I wouldn't say he's quality to. I wouldn't say he's the difference between us winning the Champions League and not winning Champions League. But if we were able to get that kind of player who's able to create something out of nothing, I mean, like Kvaratskhelia done the other night in the Super Cup, just cut inside, bam, that shot was ridiculous. If we're able to get that kind of player, we might be able to get over the line. I do think we're unfortunate in the final last season. How we've been able to call on someone like a Calafiori off the bench, who's a maverick, probably could have changed the game a bit differently, but we had so many tired legs out there. People had to come off. It was a shame. Even Hincapié at the start, extra time he cramped up. But with takeoff, Skelly was tired. Saka, it wasn't fit really, came off. Mascara, Timber, So it was
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely unfortunate with injuries last year. I think I was saying Timber for me was he's probably my player. He's so underrated. Was up until he got injured, player of the season for me up until that point. And I think we've had to then kind of evolve and change a little bit, forcing Ben White to play games when maybe he wasn't fully fit. Mascara going out right back at times. And again, defensively, we seem to solve a lot of those problems. Hincapié joined us with an injury last season. He's obviously not got that problem now, kind of played himself into fitness. Across the back line, we look really, really solid. It's more, like I said, that left side. One thing I will give Jolis, I think Jolis, he does have the ability to maybe just find a yard of space and put a cross in. So hopefully that feeds Gyökeres. You've seen them, obviously, even with Havertz being as a 9 the other day, his assist record speaks for itself, right? So maybe that is what we need. I'm actually more thinking on the right hand side is where we have a bit of a drop off when Saka is not fit and he doesn't look fit, hasn't looked fit for quite a while. Can we rely on Madueke to do the business? And a lot of people have been on him after the Community Shield. Me personally, I thought he did okay. I thought we got 2 goals with him on the pitch. You can't point fingers at one player. He did enough for us to have those positions. A lot of the attacking opportunities came from the other side, and that's purely because he's there, right, creating space and stretching the defense, I guess. But for me, the right hand side also is equally a bit of a problem. Everybody's talking about the left. I know I mentioned it a couple of times, but when Saka's fit, less of a concern. But we know his fitness record, like you said. So is Martinelli, Jolis on the left good enough? I think it's probably equally as questionable as 50% fit Saka and a Madueke, who's probably going to get a good number of minutes on our right hand side.
Mm-hmm. So where do you have us finishing in Champions League? We're not going to win it. Are we in the final again? Are we getting heartbreak again in Madrid in the final?
I think we'll get. We'll go out early. I think we'll probably get to the semi-finals. Maybe, like you said, the draw was very favourable for us last year. I don't think look. We got the benefit of the draw because we were the best team in the group stage. But, so whilst it was favourable, it was because we earned it. One thing maybe to consider is, and a lot of people maybe haven't spoken about this recently, is we're going to be in pot 1 for the Champions League group next year. So we're because we were out of it for a little while, we were always in pot 2, which is why we ended up playing like your Bayern Munich and Inter, who were in pot 1. And even in the previous season, we had PSG in the group phase, right? This year we're in pot 1, which should mean we have slightly easier games. We're going to play one other team from pot 1, and then there's going to be the other pots, right? And again, because there's 5 English clubs in the league, it kind of limits who you can play and what that looks like. So what does that mean? Ultimately, we've seen it in the past before. Other teams have struggled in the group phase. This is only the 3rd year of this new format. It's worked out well for us so far. But can we replicate that form? After a World Cup year where lots of players are going to be, a little bit tired, maybe a bit of a hangover. We're going to get players joining the club at maybe different times during the season. The Champions League kicks off, not too far after the Premier League starts, right, in September. So we don't have much time, but I do think that us being in pot 1 could have an impact on the first section. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything as you get into the knockout phase. It just means we might miss the playoff round, hopefully, because we get top 8 again. But where we finish in that top 8 will dictate a lot of stuff. And again, like I said, there's lots of expectation. We finished first in the group last year. Can we do that again? I don't know if we'll be able to do that again, but hopefully we get in the top 8. But I can't see us going all the way, unfortunately, which will probably annoy quite a few people.
No, I didn't even factor in that pot one thing as well. Yeah, we've been pot two for the last few years, so we've been getting a pot one away and a pot one at home. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
exactly. Yeah,
a little bit slightly easier.
we've dealt with it well. Like
Yeah,
we've had some difficult draws. You know, going away to San Siro last year, whilst
yeah.
Italian football, depending on the team, they kind of rebuild and change personnel almost year on year. It's still the San Siro, and
Well, we went there twice. We went San Siro 2 years in a row.
exactly, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
they changed the rule. They changed that exact rule because we had gotten 2 years in a row. So
Because the year before, was that when Raya gets saved the penalty
yeah,
late in the
yeah.
game?
No, it's when we lost 1-0. We lost the
How do we
penalty
lose it?
1-0.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, they scored a penalty, and we should have got one. Gabby got punched in the head.
yeah. Okay, I remember this. Yeah.
And
And
last season was Jokeres come off the bench and nice little goal, and yeah,
yeah, the self assist from Saka.
yeah,
But
yeah,
even with this, right? So again, Gyökeres is new to the team. There was a lot of conversation last year about those two not getting on, Saka not passing the ball to him. All that sort of stuff. I think is a bit of a myth, right? Much of a much in nothingness, and we should probably see a much more cohesive team, right? And hopefully we just go in a lot more attacking the offensive and go and destroy teams, because we have the capability to do it, right? I just don't think we saw the best out of Gyökeres. Havertz was out injured, obviously, and like I spoke about rotation, it'd be interesting to see how those two players are used throughout the season, because I think Havertz is a player who needs confidence. He needs games. He's probably not going to get games every week in, week out, with Gyökeres being there if he stays beyond the end of the window. And yeah, like we got all the ingredients to go and do something special in the league. But yeah, in the Champions League, I just think we fall a little bit short again.
yeah. I mean, I think this is probably with the head. I think we're gonna get to the final again. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I'm doing too much.
You got your ticket booked to Madrid already. You got the Airbnb ready to go.
No, I think I'm doing too much. I think you're right. I think we could. I think semis maybe. Yeah. Oh, it's lucky. It comes down to the draw again, doesn't it? It could come down to the draw.
Yeah, I think.
Think about it. Even the English teams are not going to be great in the Europe this season. The English teams,
Yeah, I think Villa will struggle.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, even Man United. I think still a couple of weeks in the window left for them, but Carrick's never been tested at that level.
Yeah.
Their squad looked really thin last season. They obviously added a few players, but they've lost a few as well. How will they deal with that kind of? Yeah, I agree. I think England could maybe, Maresca, we've spoken about Liverpool going through transition. Yeah, we really touched on it. I think the English teams will struggle. And then, but that means, so like last season, for example, we all got through. Some of them were seeded. Again, when you get through to the draw, that it has an impact on the draw, because there's fewer options and pathways that you can, teams you can get through. Obviously, not later in this competition, but earlier in the competition. And yeah, I mean, all that sort of stuff come into play. If the English teams kind of falter at the first hurdle, or some of them go out, which I think Villa might struggle with, it could potentially impact later on.
Yeah, well, I think Charles his strategy is to milk our domination in the Premier League as much as possible, and just focus on get our rest where we can, and that can help us in the latter stage of the Champions League. Obviously, if you finish in the top 8, you don't have to play that playoff in February.
Yeah.
So again, we get more rest there. I'm hoping we have the league wrapped up by April. I mean, last year, obviously, we kept
every opportunity we had. We fought it.
We threw it away. Forest, we threw it away. Brentford, we kept doing it. We just kept doing it over and over again. We did the hard way, but
yeah, we did.
Hopefully, with this season, we've learned from our lessons, and we can just take it by the scruff of the neck, like Charles has said. And
I think so.
Rotate more and focus on the Champions League and give it a go.
Yeah, I mean, it's always pros and cons to it, right? Rotation is key to keep everybody fit, but then when you want them kind of on the sharp edge when you need them, I guess. But I don't know. I think go back to Europe, right? I think if you look at some of the teams, I think Real Madrid are going to be a problem next year, right? They've obviously gone out and spent a lot of money in the summer, got experienced manager, probably only in the last 2 or 3 years, Mourinho, because that's usually how it goes. But if you look at their team, if we come up against Real Madrid, I think player for player, they're probably a little bit stronger than us, right? It come down to a tactical match between us and them and how we kind of perform on the day. But this, Barcelona have improved by adding Rodri. So like those teams that we, Bayern Munich as well, are always going to be a bit of a challenge. So I think if you look PSG as well, you can't discount them going back to back in 2 years. So there's maybe 4 or 5 top clubs in Europe who are only getting better and coming where maybe Real Madrid weren't at the levels as they were this season, going into this season. Which is why I think, for us, have we improved to the same level as maybe Real Madrid with what they've done? You probably have to say no when you compare squad for squad, and that's where we might struggle against some of the top European teams.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I keep forgetting that Rodri's gone to Barca, they've got stronger and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah, Barca got stronger. Real Madrid, 100%, they've got stronger. Bayern Munich are already strong. They just got a tough draw against PSG. PSG are strong.
Yeah. I mean, Charles, we spoke about this earlier. We kind of agreed that we're happy with the team we've got so far. We don't want to waste any money on getting any other player in. If something quality comes up and we have the opportunity to get a player, then do it. But if not, I think we have a decent squad enough to, maintain a league at least. Obviously not win Champions League, but yeah.
I think for us in the next, obviously, I can't remember when the window closes, second or third. I think it's more important if there's players to move on, how we move those players on. Right? So lots of conversation about players like Gabriel Jesus still being at the club. I think he's only got 1 year left in this deal. It still baffles me how Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is our record sale from Arsenal. Is it 35 million? That for a club of our size, and I know we've not been at the sharp end for a little while as we went for our transition, but we need to be doing better with sales, and we can't keep allowing players to run their contracts down. We can't keep giving them these huge pay packets because, I saw some comments today where he's got no real incentive to go and take a pay cut to go and play football elsewhere. He's a Brazilian international. Even if he runs his contract down, he's probably going to get a decent signing bonus on a free transfer and a pretty decent wage. So that for me is more what we need to focus on in the last couple of weeks of the window. Who's at the club that we don't potentially need? Fabio Vieira, is he surplus to requirements? That sort of stuff. Tidying up the squad a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, so you've got us win the league, semi-final Champions League. And what do you think about FA Cup? Obviously, this is Arteta's first trophy that he won back in 1920 season, COVID season behind closed doors.
Yeah,
final took over. Some great finishes.
It's Chelsea, isn't it?
It's just not been kind to us. I mean, we've had a lot of third round exits. Fourth round last year, we got it right. I mean, but last year again, you could say we got the luck of the draw. We got Mansfield, Port Vale, Southampton. We went out to, but we had a good draws last year in the FA Cup, and we went out to Southampton.
We did. Some people say we threw that one away as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that one was. So I think I was away watching this game. I think I was in Ghana watching this, and then this was around about April when we had that really bad run of games, right? So I think timing wise for us, if that game had come a couple of weeks before, maybe later in the season, maybe a different outcome. But I don't know how much we want this. Do we want the FA Cup? So much spoken about. It's not maybe the same competition as it was. There's not the notoriety around it. We've just won the Premier League. I think if we don't win anything and we win the FA Cup next year, you kind of have to say that's like regression, right? We've not moved forward. We've gone backwards. So I think the priority for me is going to be the league. I've always said the league is where we try and dominate, and then we just have to focus on if we get far in these competitions, great. But I'm not prioritizing it. I think. Depending on the draw, who we get.
Well, to be fair, we had the squad depth, to be honest. We have literally 2 starting 11, so we should do well in this competition. I think.
You think we'll do well?
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should do well because, like I said, we've got a good rotation. You take out. You can either play our definite right back. Can be Ben White or Timber. Centre back could be Mosquera or Konza, Saliba.
Yeah.
Left centre back, Gabriel, Hincapié or Calafiori. Left back, Calafiori or Hincapié. In the midfield, our midfield depth. Up front, you've got Kai Havertz or Gyökeres. On the left, you've got Solis or Martinelli. And you've got Saka, Madueke. I mean, we've got a lot of players. So I think we should be able to deal with it. To handle all these games. Everyone get minutes. Again,
where do you think we finish? Do you think we do it? Domestic double?
I think we might. Because like you said, it was around April, the quarterfinal winner. I think that business end. I think we're going to be focus on Champions League. I think we might take an eye off these kind of cups, especially the FA Cup. Carabao Cup's a bit earlier in the season, so we're a bit more in tune. The Champions League's off for that during that period, so we can focus on the Carabao Cup. But the FA Cup's in between the main areas of the business end of the season. We don't really want to waste time on it or focus on it. So I think if you have to push me, I think we're gonna go to the quarterfinals again. And again, I say it all the time. It does depend on the draw. But,
it does.
If we're at the Emirates, I think we'll be rocking. If it's an away game, if it's an away tie to a Brentford in the quarters, I think they'll pack us in.
I mean, so sometimes with these, especially when you get letters, say I prefer us to have like a big draw. What is, we had Southampton last year. Obviously, it was away from home. And obviously, we know what happened, right? When those away grounds, they could turn against you. If it's a big game, you kind of have to be up for it, and you have to kind of put maybe a stronger team out, and you kind of progress. I think with the FA Cup, right, it'll be not dependent, but it'll be interesting to see how other clubs prioritize this, because I think you might have the likes of, if you said, right, it's January when we'll probably get involved in our first game. By then, the league will not be decided, but you kind of will know who are pushing for the league. So if Chelsea, for example, who are not in Europe, not really in the title race, just go full focus on this, which they potentially could do, that might dictate where we might not have the same priorities. We said we're going to be in the Champions League, hopefully still come February. One of the other clubs might want to just kind of focus on this. And like I said, if we were to only win the FA Cup, I wouldn't be particularly happy. If we did a league double, I'll be, that'd be good. But the league and the Champions League are obviously the two competitions we want to prioritize and focus on most. That's not the message. I guess the manager and the players are going to be promoting. They're going to be trying to go after everything, but you have to kind of have your limits. And this is the one I'll be prioritizing.
I mean, I'm the same. Focus on the league, Champions League. If we happen to scam our way into a final, take it seriously then. But if not, then I wouldn't be upset. I am upset. I do get upset. I say I'm not upset, but when it comes to time, Southampton on that drive back, Southampton, I was fuming.
What about we know Carabao Cup is not one everybody takes serious. When you got to the final,
we can move the Carabao Cup right now.
When you got to the final, this is
you take it seriously. If it's a cup, it becomes a proper cup competition that you want to win. It's no longer the Mickey Mouse Cup. It's no longer whatever cup it is. It's now the most important cup, and at that point in time, it's the most important cup. And it was.
I don't know if it's true, but I don't know if Kepa still has this clause in his contract where he needs to play in a cup. I don't know if he's going to be our number 2. If Melia is going to be if we get to a final, I want to see David Raya go.
I think I'll tell him his lesson. I think he. I'm saying that, I don't know. He's
stubborn sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he might play Meslier instead of Kepa. So it's not the same person, but. I mean, a League Cup, we haven't won it for donkey's years, you know what I mean?
Isn't it since the 90s? It's the last
time
it's
not a cup we take seriously. We often, back in the Wenger days, we spent literally our youngsters.
The kids, while Guardiola was playing the superstars, we were playing big prospect.
in the last 5 years, we've got semi-finals twice. The Liverpool one, I think wasn't great because I thought they rested players. Salah didn't play in the semi-finals. Thought we could have beat them. Brighton at home. We lost. I think Welbeck scored. 4th round away to West Ham. That was terrible that evening. And Newcastle again. Back when they had Isak and Gordon, they had our number at that point. I think they were anytime they played Newcastle, they locked us down on the wings, and and that was it. And they went on to win it. So
that home game, I was surprised, but they were the better team that season, right? They won that, and it's a strange one, this one, right? Because I think in those games when we get a City in the final, Newcastle the year before, West Ham, we probably are playing a strong team, right? So it's not even like we're not playing a strong team, but we still somehow seem to struggle when it comes with this. But then again, right, like I said, sometimes you kind of have to weigh it up. I think sometimes it's probably a blessing in disguise because it allows us to focus on other priorities. But I did have a feeling last season though that we've seen it in the past before with like maybe with Mourinho, with Guardiola, where the Carabao Cup has been almost like the spark that created the domination over over domestic football, and I did think we would replicate that and last season maybe win the Carabao and then go on to win the league. It didn't work out that way. I mean, it doesn't change anything, right? We won the league and no one could take that away from us. But I think domestic cups is where I know we got the most FA Cups in history in the competition and stuff, but we seem to lack a little bit in domestic cup competitions in recent years, which is strange for us, right? Because I think that might have been somewhere where we would have been able to kind of pick up a couple of cups and ease some of the pressure on Arteta. But
so where do you think we're going to come in the League Cup?
I mean, again, ultimately depends on the draw, but this one, if we go out of the first round, I'm not even too worried about it. No, I mean, I can't. So I think I know this plays early in the season, right? So I think is it the semis play in like January?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And then semis maybe like February-ish, and then the finals usually March. I know they moved it forward this year because of the World Cup and stuff. So if come December, January, we're still in it. Was at the quarterfinals. That'll be a decent, right? We probably have some maybe academy prospects like Marley Salmon and these sorts of players maybe getting a couple of minutes in this competition. Max Dowman, we probably expected to be get a lot more minutes this year than they did last season. But these cup competitions is going to be bread and butter for them, where they can kind of really express themselves and kind of show what they're about without too much pressure that you get in the league.
Yeah, you know what? I think we're going to win it.
This one.
I think we're going to win. Yeah, I think we're going to win it. I don't feel we're going to win it. I don't know what it is. I just feel like this one's eluded us for a long time.
Definitely has. It would be good. It would be good if we did. It would be like a February, March, not trophy celebration, but it will give us that momentum maybe to kind of, if we need it, because we might already be walking the league or have a good gap to other teams, and it might give us the confidence, like I said, or I think Charles said, right, that rotation to say, actually, let's rest some players and focus on the Champions League because we're hopefully still in it towards the latter end of the season.
Yeah, true. So let's see. You got us win the league, Champions League. We're going out semi-final, FA Cup semis, and League Cup quarters. So you got us winning one trophy this year, and that's retaining the Premier League trophy. Yeah. And that's a good season. That's a good season. Coming season. As long as we don't get embarrassed in Champions League, like don't make at least make the quarters. Semis in the Champions League. I think do that and win the league. I think it's a good season.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we've never done that before as a club, right? So in the Premier League era, to win back-to-back Premier Leagues, right? On some of the great teams that we had. So whilst that's not the season everybody so everybody's going to be pointing to the Champions League saying that's the one that's definitely eluded us, that we've never won in our history. That's the one probably now that we got the Premier League, everybody's going to be looking at. Had so many debates over the past couple of seasons with fans saying which one's bigger, for me, the Premier League was always the one I wanted, right? I wanted that first. We've got it now. I think retaining it is also something that we've not done. So let's go and do that. And then maybe with a couple of key additions in a couple of key, the attacking areas, then we could be maybe a real force in Europe. Because like I said earlier, right, when you compare to some of the other squads, I think from an attacking point of view, some of those squads they probably have, when you match us up against them, whilst defensively and we can probably stack up from an attacking point of view, some of those front lines in Europe look pretty scary.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we looked at the cup, so let's look at the players. Who do you think is going to be our top goal scorer this season? I mean, we've had Gyökeres last season. I think 21 was a new record in terms of a first season. Havertz, and this is all competitions, by the way.
Yeah.
It's kind of surprised me when I was putting it together. I was like, wow. Like, you think like Haaland has scored like 30 goals in the Prem alone?
Did he not score 50 in his first season in all competitions? Right?
We are really a team that scores by committee. You know what I mean? Everyone chips in the goals. So it's evident just by this one slide that 21 is our highest in all competitions in the last 5 seasons for one of our players. And you can see in 22-23 where arguably Martinelli and Odegaard had their best seasons in the Arsenal shirt, which we're trying to recreate in the last 3 seasons. Together with Saka, they've all got 15 goals each in all competitions. So who do you think this season there's going to be a lot of rotation. We're hoping to play a different style of play. Who do you think is going to be our top goal scorer?
Yeah, I can't see past Gyökeres. Yeah,
okay.
For me, look, I was a little bit disappointed he didn't start on Sunday. I think it gives maybe some indication of the manager's thinking. I think because he didn't start on Sunday, he probably doesn't start tomorrow. I would have personally liked to see him start tomorrow and then, it seems like a game that's really set up for him to kind of, he performs against lower league opposition,
Mhm.
even though he scored a couple of goals against Tottenham. Maybe they're lower league too, but
They're 17th. They're lower league. Don't worry
yeah.
about it.
But I thought this was made for him, right? Early kick off in the season, get a couple of goals on his belt, and really build his confidence to kick on. Obviously, we don't know who's going to start tomorrow, but I think he probably is Havertz. But I do think he will grow into the season, and I spoke on Guimaraes, maybe the influence he can have on how we attack going forward just plays into the likes of Gyökeres, right? Even if it's not direct balls into him, into the wide players who create those one-on-one overloads and opportunities to get the ball into the box early, which is what he did for a living in Portugal. So we can't discount the fact that this guy he was seen as the best striker in the world, right? He won that award for what he did. So he can do it. It's just we need to feed him, and I can't see past Gyökeres. Yeah, I think he'll get 25 goals this season because
Okay.
people forget he had a bit of time out last season.
Mhm.
He was injured around about October-ish. I think when he was really getting into his stride, I thought. I think was it the Burnley game?
Yeah.
I think that 45 minutes was probably like really, really impressed with what he did both on and off the ball. I know people don't like him technically on the ball, but and then he went off for half time, and even when he came back in, he just didn't recreate that level of consistency. So I think Gyökeres is my guy.
Yeah, I agree. I think you can't look past Gyökeres. I think I would say Saka in past times, but I'm not sure his fitness. He's going to be rested a lot more, especially rotating with his Achilles, looked after more in that sense. Havertz has a tendency to score goals. I think he can chip in goals as well. But I think
will he stay fit though? I think that's the biggest question mark for Havertz with me. I think over the past couple, we've seen it over the past couple of seasons, he's been in and out of the squad. I don't think he's a striker. Well, play him as a striker, you can rely on to play 35, 40 games a season. You're always going to pick up a couple of injuries, and I think that's where Gyökeres will have the opportunities. He's not really our main penalty taker either, Gyökeres, but I think probably Odegaard will be doing this.
He should be. I think
he should be as well. But I think Odegaard will probably take take that responsibility again, or maybe Saka. But I think Gyökeres, 25 goals. I can see him getting across all competitions. Like we said, considering we're going to be in all four. Yeah, I can see him doing that quite easy.
Well, not under you. You want us to go out, but League Cup early. At the
yeah. I mean, he performs against those lower league opposition, right? So he'll probably get a hat trick in a couple of days.
We'll go out 4-3. Let's go hat trick. Yeah. All right, so that's the goal scorer. Right? This is the assists, just the Premier League in the last 5 seasons. Leandro Trossard, who's left us now, unfortunately. Obviously, Saka's been just putting him assists, mainly from set pieces, you'd probably say, in the 24-25 season.
I'm surprised Declan Rice. Was it not Declan last season?
Yeah, no,
I think
it was. I mean, I have to fact check co-pilot. This is co-pilot.
Yeah, I thought it would have been Deck.
So, I think... Who do you think will get our most assists? Obviously, we do get goals from corners. Solis is there. Declan Rice is out possibly for a couple games, and Saka.
Yeah, I mean, you call my pick. I think for me, if Odegaard can replicate the form he's shown in that one game or in the World Cup, I think he probably should be getting double digits or close to that again this season. But I've been super impressed with Jolis so far, and I think he could give us something very different to what we've had in the squad before. And then like I said, the record speaks for itself. And even in the few games so far, even though it's not been great outcomes for us, he's been able to replicate that, and I think he could unlock quite a few defenses and create space for the strikers, whoever is Havertz or Gyökeres. So I'd go Jolis from what I've seen so far.
Me, I'd go with. I was fact checking on the Premier League website. So Declan Rice got 5 assists in the Premier League.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 6. I thought about Declan as well.
Yeah, I was thinking. Maybe some in other competitions.
Probably all competitions, Declan Rice. Yeah, but this is the Premier League. I think Odegaard. I think if Odegaard can replicate that kind of ability that he's showing from last Sunday, he's going to be more forward thinking. Especially with Bruno behind him. Bruno's not trying to play backwards to Raya and play around in a horseshoe. He wants to do the penetrative passes with runners from the left, runners from the right, and get us to the goal as quick as possible. So I think that would impact Odegaard's play, and I think Odegaard could get our most. And even with Saka out, I think Odegaard might be our corner taker on the left hand side for in swingers. So yeah, my guess would be Odegaard for this season.
Yeah. I mean, only question mark for me, like I said, Odegaard first. Only question mark for me is fitness, right? Can he stay fit for the season? I think similar to Saka, it's strange how both of their performance levels kind of almost mirror each other, where they've had peaks at the same time and performed to a high standard, but have also kind of dropped off at the same time. But if he can stay fit, I think he's in for a good season. We spoke about rotation. It's just obviously, we haven't really spoken to the likes of Eze. How does he fit into the squad? We're probably going to continue to see Odegaard, being rotated or substituted after about 60 minutes, which is what we're used to seeing, which should help his fitness, but probably won't help his impact on the games, right? I think usually we kind of see like the West Ham game, right? Late in the game, teams are tired, Arsenal putting the pressure on, where he kind of is able to unlock and pick those pockets and kind of play balls in. So if he's not on the pitch, it makes it harder for him. But whereas I think the likes of maybe Jolis, maybe we'll get a bit more game time where you see Martinelli in the last 10 or so minutes coming on as a substitute. But yeah, Odegaard's a good shout. I think fitness will be the only thing that could stop him.
So I got a couple of questions. No slides for just a couple of quick fire questions. Who do you think will be the player of the season for Arsenal?
For Arsenal?
Yeah.
Player of the season, it would be tough. I think it will probably, if I ask me right now, I'll probably have to say Declan again. Guimaraes will run him quite close, but I'll probably say Declan.
Yeah, I'm thinking Djokovic. I think. It was his first season in the Premier. I know he played it before, but he was. I do think from January onwards, I think his game got a lot better because I was done with him in January. I was happy to sell him in January. January 1st, I was taking him back to Portugal.
I like that.
You know what happened? His game it's like he grew to his body more and understood how to, angle his body against defenders, where to run, and I think in the running he helped us exponentially up front.
100%. Strikers normally they are judged on their numbers, right? But he does so much off the ball running that nobody really appreciates to create the space, and we just didn't use that space well enough because we were so slow in our build up. So yeah, I mean, hopefully with like the players of Bruno and like you said about playing the ball quicker up, will create that space, and he maybe get the opportunities, the ball at his feet a little bit sooner, where he can show his natural instincts as a striker. But I love that. I think something about him. He's got this crazy aura. We've seen these pictures for Sweden where he's got the picture doing the mask and he did it at Crystal Palace as well.
Yeah.
So I think the fans are starting to. I think they like him as a person, maybe not so much as a player, but I think he's going to slowly start to win players over. So I love that he's already changed your opinion already.
Yeah, honestly, January 1st, I was ready. I was driving to Heathrow Airport. I was done with him. He kept in the first half of the season. He kept falling on the floor.
Yeah,
every bit of contact he got with players on the floor, but he became a bit more robust. It's like he just I don't know what happened in the Christmas break, but
we signed him. We were dawdling a little bit last season. There's back and forth but we got the deal done later maybe than we would have wanted. Maybe they didn't have a full preseason. You don't know what impact that has. Even this year has been disrupted with the World Cup and stuff. But I like the fact that we saw like videos of him off season training. He was running, he was doing like drills and trying to get back to that level, which is hopefully we'll put him in good stead. I think I agree with what you said. He probably looked a little bit bulky, grew into himself, looked a lot more fitter, a lot more confident in his ability. And like I said, we know what we've seen him in the Champions League do this against top level opposition. So I know I said about him performing against the lower league teams in the league, but in the Champions League, he was destroying Man City. He was scoring goals against Barcelona. Like he was doing this regularly at the top level. So he can do it. We just need to kind of unlock him, and hopefully, like I said, the tactical changes and with Zoris and Guimaraes could be what he needs to kind of deliver the best form for Arsenal next season.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully so. Because if you get a top striker who's scoring goals, it just normally echoes. It just triggers back for a team, and we win. We win games.
You just have that confidence. He's going to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah. I mean, you touched on Coventry. You started talking about, who might start. I mean, we haven't played Coventry for a very long time. It's their first time back in the Premier League since the 2000 and 2001 season. So, 25, 26 years. We played them a couple of times in the Cup, in the League Cup and FA Cup, beating them 6-1 and 4-0. I mean, what's your thoughts going into this game? First game this season, bright lights, the Emirates, 8 o'clock, champions. crowd roaring, fans buzzing. It's just you probably got Gary and everyone carrying on the sideline, frothing and dancing, hoping we lose. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, do you know, there's a couple of times we played newly promoted opposition. I think Brentford is probably the one that sticks in everybody's mind when they come up and slapped us 2-0. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're at home. It's going to be, I think the Emirates is going to be buzzing tomorrow, right? Everybody, we're going to walk out the first time in the Premier League era as champions.
Yeah.
Because that's not happened before. I can't see anything but a win tomorrow. Coventry, Frank Lampard obviously has done well in the lower divisions. In the Premiership, he's obviously struggled in his previous 10 years. And it'll be a big day out for Coventry, and I think it could just maybe be too much for those players so early on to come to the Emirates. It's on a Friday as well, which is a bit unusual. Friday night kickoff. So, I can see us winning 3-0 comfortably.
Yeah. Who would you start? What's your starting lineup? You got anyone in mind? 11?
To be honest, I kind of was talking about this earlier. I think Konza probably doesn't look like he's going to be done in time to start. So I think for me, I would go with the same 11 that started in the Community Shields. But the only change I would make is I would put Gyökeres in over Havertz. I don't think that will happen. I think he's kind of showed his hand, and I think he probably will start. Very similar to what we saw on Sunday. But like I said earlier, I would prefer Gyökeres to start that game and get some good minutes to get his confidence going. But the only one maybe that might change is, we've seen that maybe we might want to risk Declan Rice and put him in and put Skelly on the bench. But other than that, I think that team we played on Sunday, they were good enough to beat City, so I can't see them not doing it against Coventry tomorrow.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if, like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if he does play Gyökeres, because we are playing a lower team in the league. It was no surprise for me to have it start against City. You saw last season Champions League final, City away, the big games. Arteta loves. He does tend to favour Havertz with the way what he brings to the game in terms of hold up play and his link up, bringing others into the game. So I think he does like Havertz in those games. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does bring in Gyökeres, to get his confidence up. You want a confident striker going into a season. What game? If you had a cherry pick a game, this is one of the 3 games you'd pick if you won the promoted team.
I know. We got some difficult games in the first few. Aston Villa, Chelsea. We need to be hitting the ground running straight away. We want to make sure that everybody's at a good level. So
you don't want to chop and change and bring Gyökeres in for
one
like
game.
I said, a Villa away. Yeah, do you know what I mean? As your first game, you want him at home. If you want to get him at home, get a couple goals, get him off, and then get Havertz on. Because I think Havertz will probably start against Chelsea. Like I said, it's a big team. That's what he likes to favour. So if you can do it, bring in Gyökeres, let him get a couple goals. It's his former club, he'll probably do that celebration. So
exactly. I want to see him celebrate. I don't like when players do that, right? So we've all been there before. We all work for different people. You could go to the competition. You don't not go to the Christmas party, right? You still have fun. You still make the most of it. So you need to kind of, if he does score, hopefully he'll pull out the mask.
I do think we'll win as well. I think we'll win the game. It's gonna be a complete different game than the City game, as we know. We're gonna be against a low block, very deep low block, deep dirty block. I don't think Coventry will try and attack. I'm not too familiar with their players, if they've got any players in the pace in the break. But even if so, I think they'll just be suffocated for 90 minutes. I do think even if they concede early, I don't think they'll try and go for it, because they've got to think long term this season.
100%.
They don't want to get slapped 5-0
straight away.
If we come out here with 2-0, 3-0 defeat, we'll take that, and we'll focus on the games that we can beat. The Ipswiches, the Hulls, the Sunderlands, the teams around us down there. So I don't think they're really going to give us much of a game in terms of end to end or trying to come out and attack us. So it's just how much we can get, and if we can pick them off.
I think it'd be a good litmus test for us for how clinical. Can we go and kill games off? Right? Is this going to be like a really difficult, like Wolves at home, where it's, they score late and it gives them opportunities to kind of come back and challenge us, and we need to go and get a couple of goals. put some real daylight in, and make it a comfortable evening, right? I think that's what everybody's hoping for. Don't want to kind of put too much stress on the players. Maybe rotate and take some off later on in the game. Make it reasonably comfortable. I think it is a bit maybe too early in the Premier League for the Coventry players. Same, not too familiar. I know they made a couple of signings as Premier League teams normally, promoted teams normally do. So again, how do those players gel into the squad? I know they've signed a couple of foreign players, so maybe language barriers and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, I no disrespect to Frank Lampard, right? But I don't think he's not Mikel Arteta.
No.
From a tactical perspective, his game is very different in terms of how he likes to play. And they're not going to come and they like to play attacking football. That's what he's built on, how he goes about playing his teams when he was at Derby and stuff. So they're not going to be able to go and do that. So I don't see them causing us too many problems. And if they try to, if they want to come and have that expand, they're probably going to get ripped apart. So, like I said, they have to think the long game, and goal difference will probably, hopefully, if they stay up, might have an impact on that when it comes the end of the season. So they don't want to get rolled over too heavily on the first night out.
Yeah, I mean, 100% agree. Both got us winning that game. Hopefully it's comfortable. 2-0, 3-0 halftime, get the subs on. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be, it's good. It's good. I love it, man. Football's back. I'm just smiling thinking about it. It's back now. We're the first game.
For some reason, like I said, we had the World Cup. For some reason, this season, this summer break, it seemed longer than normal. Even though we had the World Cup. But yeah, so finally the hiatus is over and we get it going again tomorrow.
Well, I mean, I'm going to leave it there. Again, in the description, Nev's TikToks, his Instagram. My boy's active. I'm telling you, go there. Good content. He's going to get that YouTube going.
Yeah, we'll do.
He's going to get it going. So when he gets that going,
it's the same handle. It's the same, but yeah, I just need to. I need to start being more active on it and actually start posting.
Yeah, we're going to try and get him on more time this season going forward, and and YouTube will be in the description going forward. I mean, Nev, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. Sorry.
No, all good, man. Appreciate the invite as always. And same to you, man. Like, always, the content is always great and always good having a good conversation with you. So, we like I said, we go again tomorrow. Come and you Arsenal.
Yeah. I mean, if you're new here, just like the video, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we'll try and do this content going forward. Just trying to grow it, We'll have more people going on. I think spoke to a couple other people who couldn't make it today, but it'll be a bit more of a panel going forward. But even if just Nev, we seen the content today, we see what he's about. Brilliant talker, so I'm happy to have just Nev here if it's gonna be just Nev, but
Listen, there's not too much for us to talk about because when there's things to talk about, things go our way, right? We want an easy defense.
We batted 4-0, that was it. It was easy, nothing to talk about.
If only it was that easy, I'm sure there'll be loads.
It's gonna be a 2-2, it's gonna be a 5-hour pod, long-hour pod. No. Again, seriously, thanks for coming, man, and everyone have a good weekend. Hopefully, we're here after we batter Coventry 3-4, 5-0.
Let's hope so.
Take care, everyone.
Peace. Take it easy, man. Take it.